Story time.
So how did 8 people from completely different walks of life end up at the Holler Creative? Let's get into it.
Hey guys, so part of what we're trying to convey this week or talk about this week is how our previous experiences led us to our job and what we do at the Holler. For me, personally, I got started using computers at a really young age. Probably like from 7 to 13, I would work for my grandma every summer, and I would save up all the money that I got and then buy a little Kodak camera. And I'd import the pictures and export all the edits and stuff, and I thought it was just a hobby at the time, but by the time I got to college, I realized, oh, this could be something that I use as a skill. And it's cool to see how a hobby can transition into being a big part of your life. Another funny thing, when I was a kid, we only had a black and white printer, so my mom would have me make my birthday invites probably in 5th grade on the computer at the house, and then I'd print them off and use Crayola markers and color them in and then put them in envelopes and send them out to friends. It's cool to see how a little project as a kid can affect what you do for the rest of your life.
Fellers, a little out of breath. I'm moving this chair around to try to get myself some good lighting for a story time. So Natalie told me to tell a story, so we're gonna tell a story. Hello, Holler hooligans. Welcome to my origin story. Play my theme song. Cool, thank you. So how did I get here? Is it okay to have shorts on? How did I get here? So, there I was, a young 18-year-old James, kicking around a soccer ball in sunny Orlando, Florida. And then I thought, hey, I want to kick up a soccer ball around somewhere else. So then I made my way up to the University of Cumberland. Shout out Patriots, shout out Larry Cockrum. So yeah, I went to school in Kentucky, pretty much just to play soccer. That was like the original draw, but then I fell in love with the place once I was there. I knew I wanted to do something in marketing. I didn't know if I would want to work at like an agency or in like some other company's marketing department. But an agency always seemed kind of fun because they get to work with a lot of different clients and they're not always working on the same thing. So that life seemed kind of fun to me, but I didn't really know anything like the Holler existed around here, especially since the Holler was so young when I was still in school. And then one of my business professors, I guess Kevin, had reached out to Dr. Jake Brock now, and told him that they were trying to start an internship program. Dr. Brock talked to me, and he said I should try to get it. I did, and here we are. He mentioned that maybe we could use like old pictures of ourselves to help tell how we got here maybe. So I'm gonna go on Facebook and see if there's anything on here that is fun. There's a picture of me looking pretty cool. Not really relevant. About to record a podcast with Courtney Oliver from Rep into Recovery. Shouts out. This is a giraffe that I drew in one of my classes. So as you can see, like, I've been a pretty good artist for a long time. There's some pictures of me wearing a lion headdress. Not really relevant, I guess. Somebody tagged me and what I would be in their zombie apocalypse team. I would be the mascot, apparently. The little girl you see riding a unicycle right here is me. As you can see, I've been fresh for a really long time. Bright orange shoelaces, not playing any games. Here are some pictures of me at our family property in Tennessee. Still live in Florida though, so this is just like, you know, me falling in love with Appalachia in a good old swimming hole on a rope swing. Nothing like it. Here are some soccer pictures, because that is how I ended up here in the first place. Getting inducted into the National Honor Society in high school was a big reason I got hired, I think, so it was cool to be able to say this in my interview. Profile, and then I went to send all these videos to Natalie, and I just got an ad for like apartments, and in the picture there is a unicycle. So Mark Zuckerberg, if you're listening, hello, and please stop.
So when I went to college, I grew up in Ohio. My grandparents and their family, they moved from Eastern Kentucky up to Ohio once coal mine shut down, the Blue Diamond coal mine, when it was shut down. It sent a lot of people from that area in Eastern Kentucky up to Ohio for manufacturing jobs. A lot of them, they would fill their tank up with gas and just drive north. And when their tank of gas was about to run out, that's where they'd settle and look for a job. And so my grandparents were no different in that way. But slowly we've come back down here. And so a big step in my life was coming back to the University of the Cumberlands. And so while we were here, met my wife. She was from Williamsburg, Kentucky, right there where the Cumberlands is located. And yeah, we got married. And then we went back up to Lexington. She wanted to become a pediatric dentist, and so 6 years at UK for her to do that. And while she was there, I got a job at UK and went ahead through school myself, did counseling, psychology, and then education leadership. And then we came back down here. She wanted to be back home and to make an impact and help educate children and their parents with their dental health in Appalachia. So that was her heart, and my heritage and my heart aligned in a lot of ways. And so we came back down here, quit our jobs there in Lexington, came down here, and she started a job as a pediatric dentist. And then I was in the coffee shop, and that's where Josh and I met, just kind of working my own little thing. And Josh and I began the Holler from there. A lot of people don't know this, but actually before the Holler, there was a conference planning business that I owned, and that's actually the work that I brought Josh in on. We were running a conference, I believe it was in Iowa, and it was for the education industry, and there were over 1,000 people coming. And Josh had asked me in the coffee shop, hey, what do you want to do, moving forward in life, and what are you doing now, and how can I help, and like how can we get to be friends, right? And so as we were getting to know each other, I said, hey, I need to make like 1,000 name tags and stuff them in plastic holders. And he's like, no problem, dude. I can work spreadsheets all day. And so we work spreadsheets all day. And to this day, I think we both despise spreadsheets because of the name tag and conference planning service that we used to do. So that's how we got started. One of the services that we offer is name tags, I guess, if you want them. I don't know. Back when dial-up internet was a thing, I used to sit in the basement and learn how to build websites. I know that's super nerdy. That's probably the nerdiest thing I'll ever publicly acknowledge about myself. That and then so many different things in Josh's life culminated into us putting together the Holler. Ever since we put together the Holler, a lot of things have developed that weren't what we intended. One of them being the Holler Yell. And you can go back to James's day in the life to see kind of how that developed. But we roll with a lot of things. We go with them, It's part of who we are. Yeah.
No.
There it was. Did you hear it in the background?
So I grew up in London, Kentucky, which is just north of Corbin, which is one of my favorite places in the world. But I live in Corbin now because I work at the Holler and I'm married to a Corbin girl. I graduated from EKU, Roll Kearns, with a degree in business management and started working for a construction company as a project manager, a junior project manager, very low on the totem pole, and enjoyed my job there a lot and the people that I worked with a lot, but just wasn't a great fit for me because I really like to have one place that I go to work instead of several. So I got an opportunity to talk with Josh and Kevin about working with the Holler, and I never met Kevin before, but I met him then, and he scared me a little bit, but not too bad. And we hit it off, and they offered me a position as director of operations. So for me to be with the Holler is really an incredible thing. I've been praying really hard for a new opportunity for a career that I felt really led to and called to, and one that I felt was going to help more than just me. And I got the call from Josh not long after all those prayers went up. So felt very God-led to be with the Holler, and I never expected that I would be with an up-and-coming marketing company, especially in such a big role. But I'm very thankful to be here, excited to be here, and the Holler is one of the things I'm most passionate about in life. I live in Corbin with my wife, and after I married her and we moved to Richmond to finish our degrees, it made sense to come back to Corbin. We got offered a free house by her family to help us get through, paying off student loans and whatnot. So I live about 10 feet from the office, and yeah, that's how I got here.
All right, vlog, story time on how I got to the Holler. So I grew up in Corbin, went to Lincoln Memorial University to play soccer. I graduated from there this past May with a biology degree. Right after school, I started a summer internship at Emmanuel Baptist Church. It's another cool story of how I even got there. Anyway, through that, I started to get to know people from the Holler because I go to church there. And my first encounter with Kevin was actually at church. My friend showing him a super embarrassing video of me being dumb, but that's okay. It worked out. So I was working part-time at a preschool and coaching soccer, but I'm doing my master's online through University of the Cumberlands to get an MAT degree. So I was really looking for a full-time job to help pay for school and everything like that. I think in like the beginning of February, I was at church on Wednesday night talking to somebody, and Kevin walked by and they were like, "Hey, are you guys hiring? Because I know someone that you should hire." And Kevin was like, "Oh, actually we are hiring." So he told me to come in that next week and talk to them. And then so between the time where I like talked to him on Wednesday night to when I was gonna go in and talk to them at the Holler, I got engaged. So I really needed a full-time job then. Turns out, I went in, talked to Josh and Chase and Kevin, and just honestly the timing of how it all worked out, where they were looking for somebody and I was really needing a job, where I just got engaged. It was just a total God thing. Just super cool, the timing of it all and how his plan worked out. Long story short, I started working here. I never really pictured myself being at a job like this, I guess where I was a biology degree, but it's really been such a blessing to me. I absolutely love it. I love what I do. Love the people I work with and the environment, and I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's how I got here.
Story time. Okay, so right now I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a snippet of the story of how I started my journey and came to the Holler. It all goes back to when I was a wee babe growing up in the suburbs of Knoxville, Tennessee. And that's where I lived, and I was actually homeschooled. But then when I was a junior in high school, my family moved to an 85-acre farm in the middle of nowhere in Granger County, Tennessee, which is about an hour outside of Knoxville. And that's where my family lives now. So, moved forward a couple of years, and it was time for college. And I knew that I wanted to do something with communications. But then, out of nowhere, a friend of mine happened to be touring University of the Cumberlands, and she decided that wasn't going to be the school for her, but she said, "Sydney, I think you would really like this school and you should check it out." So I said, "Sure, why not?" As soon as my tour was over, I just had an overwhelming sense of peace and just a knowledge of, this is it for you, Sydney. And at that point, I had really prayed about it and thought about it over the summer and decided that I wanted to pursue something with marketing. And so you'll never guess what my first class was, Intro to Strategic Communication, and you'll never guess who I sat next to. If you guessed James, you would be right. So James and I had that class together, and that class and another one led us to becoming good friends. And because of James, I learned about the Holler when he started interning there, and I got to hear about the different projects he would work on and just the atmosphere and how much he loved the people that he worked with, and it just sounded like a super cool business to me. And so I met Chase at the career fair that Cumberland's had. I signed the list of people that were interested in potentially interning for the spring. So I emailed Chase and we talked back and forth a little bit. I answered some interview questions that way, and then we set up an interview, and it was awesome, and I loved getting to hear more about the Holler from his perspective through that process, and they ended up hiring me as an intern. So I interned there for the spring semester and learned so much and had such a amazing experience getting to be part of the workplace culture and meeting everyone. And now I am working part-time as a marketing communication specialist with them. So it has been a journey, and it has been so awesome, and I couldn't be more blessed or more excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to everything that is to come. So that's a little bit about my story of how I came to the Cumberlands. And shout out James, shout out Chase for connecting me with the Holler. So that's it. See you guys later.
Hello everybody, so Natalie here. I'm going to tell you the story of how I got to be at the Holler today. I am born and raised in Barberville, Kentucky, and I always loved doing creative stuff as a kid. I was always painting or drawing or just things like that. And I was also very into sports. So around middle school, I picked up tennis, and that kind of carried me through high school. And then I actually got an athletic scholarship in college for tennis. I literally loved every single moment of it, even the morning practices. It was just so fun to me. One thing that tennis brought me is Hannah Wampler, which is one of my best friends. And she was working at the Holler my junior year. She had an internship there. And she said, okay, well, they're going to be at the business forum. You need to go to that. So basically what the business forum is, it's when we have a bunch of business owners or business-minded people, about 4 or 5 of them, come in and speak at our business school. And I went to the presentation that Kevin gave. And I was sitting there the whole time like this, like, I have to talk to him after this. And he had mentioned in the presentation that they were having an internship, but they had all of their spots filled. And I just kind of looked at Hannah like, but I knew that I needed to ask him anyway. So basically, right after the presentation, I went down and I said, I know that you have all of your positions filled, but I would love to have the opportunity to work with you. He said that I came off very confident. I was very nervous at the time. I had Hannah right next to me, and the whole time I was like looking over at her like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And then there's a luncheon right after the business forum, so I actually sat with him at that too, and we talked a little bit more there. And then I just played the waiting game. So I waited for a few days, and then I was in art class, and he sent me a text, and it was like basically, we would love to get to know you a little bit more, you should come in and talk to us, that kind of thing. And I took that as literally come in and talk to us, not job interview. And so I was living at the time, the day that I actually went in. We were going to tennis nationals, and I had just moved dorms. So all of my clothes were kind of all over the place, and I ended up wearing a denim dress. I don't know, not my proudest moment. And I got there, and honestly it was fine though. So thank you guys so much for joining us for another Holler vlog and sitting through this very long video. I'm sure it's going to be kind of a long one just because everybody's going to be telling their own stories. So thank you guys so much. We love you guys dearly. We hope that you guys are staying safe and healthy right now. And we will catch you next week. Make sure that you like and subscribe down below.